I'm Myke Shrews.
And I'm Tivis.
And you're listening to
The Munster Cast.
Episode 8.
Are you just guessing the episodes at this point?
I totally was, yes. Anyway.
Happy Thanksgiving week to everyone in America.
Happy Thanksgiving. Go eat some turkey. Or turducken. Anyway.
Duck hell. I already got my eggnog.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the Munster Cast. Again, I am Myke Shrews here with my co-host Tivis. And what do we do here? What do we do here, Tivis? We discuss what?
Life in general. We take a look at a couple episodes of the original 1964 Munsters, and then talk about them.
Awesome. All right, and before I forget, because I've been
That's the quickest summary we got.
Before I forget, because I keep forgetting to do this at the end of every episode. If you want to find us on social media, we are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram.
And you can email us with anything we get wrong, like Herman never driving the Munster coach.
Yes. But all the social media is at TheMunsterCast, and the email is TheMunsterCast@outlook.com. So if you want to tell us that we're doing anything good, tell us we're doing anything bad, just want to shit on our parade, go ahead and do so. All right. With that said,
you want to tell us how hard it is to find us with our name?
It is very hard to just Google the Munster Cast, especially because the Rob Zombie movie, it keeps taking all the Munster Cast spots from us. Dang it. Yeah. So with that said, let's dive into this.
Have we talked about?
Oh, what?
Have we talked about the casting announcement that he posted on Instagram yet? This was like a month ago for everyone listening.
We haven't talked about a whole lot of him because everything keeps coming out in spurts. So
we talked about the house that he built, but I don't think we talked about the cast. Yeah. What do you think about the look of? We got a look at Herman, Lily, and Grandpa.
I don't like any of them personally compared to what we're watching now. Before anyone jumps down my throat,
not a fan of Grandpa's mutton chops.
Yeah, it's a design that I would just have to see what the characters are like with their designs. That's honestly what it's like any other character, you know, like the Hellboy recasting when they use the other guy. I still haven't watched that movie. The
David Harbour.
Yeah. But I didn't like that design, but it may have worked for that movie. I don't know. I heard the movie sucked though. So we won't go down that road. But with Rob Zombie's, like with his stuff, I've just been waiting, and I'm just going to wait until we get a trailer or the movie itself comes out.
I'm just trying to find the cast. Oh, okay.
His wife plays Lily.
Sherry Moon Zombie is Lily.
Yep.
Jeff Daniel Phillips is Herman.
Yep.
And we got Dan Roebuck as Grandpa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. I wonder who's going to play Eddie, if they've cast that yet or not. At least as of when we're recording this.
It would be hilarious if he just got Butch Patrick and told him to act like a kid. Yeah.
Just put the outfit back on.
I don't think it's in tone with what he wants from the movie, but I would be okay with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of some of the younger kid actors that I would pick for Eddie right now.
And I would want a kid from Home Alone.
No.
And Jojo Rabbit.
No. I would pick the guy who played Jojo Rabbit before I pick that kid as Eddie, because Eddie's a more slender person, we'll say.
That doesn't mean anything in recast.
Oh, yes, it does. Anyways, let's dive into episodes.
I'm sorry. I just got Butch Patrick looking 15. Like AC/DC now in my head. All right. So we're talking about season 1, episode 14, Grandpa Leaves Home, which aired Christmas Eve, 1964. And for those who don't celebrate Christmas, that's December 24th. I'm sure you know that.
All right. So any information on this before I read the synopsis?
It was written by Dick Conway, Roland McLean, and Norm Liebman. Now, this is the first appearance of Dick and Roland. Dick wrote 16 episodes of the 73 Addams Family series, and Roland wrote over 60 episodes of Leave It to Beaver and 7 episodes of Gilligan's Island. So they're no strangers to TV sitcom, and it's directed by Norman Abbott again. And we get our first appearance of Pat Priest as Marilyn.
Awesome. So let me read this quick synopsis here. If anyone wants to know where I am getting my synopsises from,
Synopsi?
It's from munsters.fandom.com. It's a wiki thing. So we got Grandpa leaves home December 24th, 1964. Grandpa feels neglected and decides to move out. Herman and Lily believe it to be a mere ploy to get attention and expect that he will soon come slinking back. And there you
go. I'm sorry, my wife sent me something stupid.
Ooh.
So we open with Herman reading The Murders in the Row by Edgar Allan Poe, and he's laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Grandpa comes in, opens the window, causing a chill, and begins cracking his fingers. That's the only way to describe it. He's not cracking his knuckles. He's cracking his fingers before trying to unfold the world's noisiest newspaper, which looks laminated by the lighting. I'm sure it's just to get it the effect they want. And Herman asks him to, quiet down. He wants to enjoy his jokes. So, yeah. He finds Edgar Allan Poe funny, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know where else to go with this.
Yeah, no. So this is where it starts off. Like, Grandpa came in, opened the window.
Mm-hmm.
Lily comes back in, closes the window.
Yeah.
And he's like, do I not have any say here? Am I not but a prisoner, basically?
You're letting all the musty air out, damn it.
Yeah. And then this is where Grandpa just explodes into like this old man rage almost, and just like starts throwing a big old man tantrum. And he's like, well, I'll just move out. I'll just get my own place. I'll just blah, 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 blah. And then as he storms out, he uses his magic and whisks the fucking air just blowing in.
Yeah, he creates a gust on his way out.
And and then we don't really see much of Grandpa until he's packing, and Eddie walks in on him. But before we get to that part, it really is just a whole lot of Herman saying, oh, he's not really leaving. Don't play in to that childish behavior, basically, is what he's saying. It's like a kid when they're like, 8 or 9 or 5 or whatever. They're like, I'm moving out, and they go and pack their bags, and it's nothing but toys and candy. As I did that once as a kid. I actually left, and my parents didn't know what to say. Because I walked my ass down to the corner and into a bush, and I camped out there for a day. But I also had like a battery powered like handheld TV thing that I found. So I was just chilling. Anyways. Grandpa rules. So
we get the new opening credits.
Yes, with the new extras.
They completely reshot the opening. Like they didn't just change a scene, they redid it. Instead of coming in last, Herman shows up now and grabs a lunchbox rather than a briefcase that we used to see.
Mm.
And then everything else kind of goes as it used to, but just in a little different because, they reshot it.
Yeah. So during this episode, because there's not a whole lot that happens before the whole grandpa stuff. It basically turns into just grandpa being, I'm moving out. That's it. I'm moving out. So of course,
and anyone expecting a lot from Pat, her first episode, will be disappointed. She has no speaking lines, and we see her for 3 minutes.
Where was she? I'm trying to
we'll get to that.
Okay. So Eddie goes into Grandpa's room.
Yep.
And Grandpa basically gets Eddie to kind of tell his parent.
We skipped over a little good joke here.
Okay, go ahead.
We got Lily talking about how she's worried about Grandpa, all that stuff. Don't lose your head. Herman says he's not going to lose his head. And then he gets a little worried and checks the bolts on his neck to make sure it doesn't fall.
Oh man, the attention to detail in this show, dude, I'm telling you, that would just be a joke that they would say and they wouldn't actually do any physical to play along with the joke. In some things now. Like a Marvel show. I mean, anyways.
All right. So Grandpa says he's going somewhere he's loved, and Eddie goes, "Oh, can I come with you to the cemetery?"
Yeah, he's like, and then this is where Grandpa is like, "Oh, I'm gonna be, lost in the cold or something." He basically makes it so Eddie goes to his parents.
Oh, he manipulates Eddie
so hard, and even tells him like what to say basically without telling him
buzzwords.
Yeah, he doesn't tell him to say it, but he says it multiple times, and he's just like, "What did I say?" And then makes Eddie repeat it back to him. He's like, "All right," and then Eddie goes to Lily and Herman and says it, and
Lily's freaking out. Herman's like, he's just in his second childhood for the third time.
Yeah. They're also like, "Well, where did you hear that from?" And he's like, "Grandpa." And Herman's like, "Of course you did." Because the whole thing is Grandpa just wants them to want him to stay. It's not that he really wants to go, and it's not that he wants to necessarily stay either, but he wants to be wanted, pretty much, is what it is.
And then we got a shot of Grandpa coming down the stairs, announcing he's leaving. The family doesn't react, so he pretends to leave, and Lily goes to react, and Herman's just like, "Hold on a second.
Yeah, just wait."
He hasn't gone just yet. So Grandpa kicks his briefcase in frustration, which is causing him to limp, which he keeps for the entire scene as he goes in the living room, takes Herman's paper, and starts looking for ships to Hong Kong. Herman's like, "Here, let me help you out." Grandpa crushes the paper in frustration and storms out.
Well, no, first, before that, Herman does the joke. He's like, "Oh, see here, they got great rates for underneath the ship."
Yeah.
In the cargo hold.
Because vampires cannot travel over water without their caskets, so they have to be in the cargo hold.
Okay.
Little lore thing.
Anyways,
don't look at me like that. Lily rounds on Herman again.
Mm-hmm. The whole episode is really fast paced. I feel in this episode.
Oh, a lot happens. Like the Raven says something and everyone tells him to shut up.
Yeah, and this is another one where the Raven gives them another note, I think.
No, it's like, "What do you think Grandpa will be back?" "Nevermore."
Oh yeah,
shut
nevermore.
Up.
Yeah. Nevermore. And we find out geez, it's such a fast-paced episode. I'm telling you, like, I'm only remembering like the main points. So
I got it beat for beat if you need help.
Yeah, go ahead.
I take extremely thorough notes here. Like, I'm not even kidding. I have to sometimes pause and rewind because I can't hear it over my typing. So we cut some time later. They're enjoying breakfast or dinner or whatever they're eating. I can never tell. Lily is worried sick. Marilyn has been going straight to her room after class because she's so upset. Herman begins to feel a little guilty at this point and decides, you know what, I'll go look for him. So we then get Herman walking around looking again, just like last week, for Grandpa, and where he sees a vicious dog, and Herman's like, oh, look at the puppy, and the dog just takes off running.
Yeah, because it was just a dog by a fence too. Like, there was no house there or nothing, was there? Was it supposed to be like a side yard? We
saw a shot of it running to the house, dragging the doghouse behind it.
I was confused if it was just supposed to be like an empty property with a dog on it, or if it was like the side yard. So yeah, okay,
yeah, that's a side yard. And then he stops and talks to this guy who's working on his car. He's like, "Hey, have you seen an old man?" And the guy's like, "What?" He sees the Herman climbs into the hood of the car and slams shit shut.
Yeah, and Herman's like, "Oh, I guess it's easier to work on when you're inside of it."
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Where does he go after that?
He comes back home, sits down, and tells Lily that he looked everywhere, but is remaining optimistic about Grandpa returning home as Lily is breaking down more and more. Again, there's some time passes. Herman comes home and asks if Grandpa has been back yet. It's like, no. He's like, well, I talked to the fishermen and they said they'll put a dragnet out for him after I gave my his description. Some more dead humor. There's a lot more of it in these episodes than there was in the beginning. Yeah. Eddie runs in and says, hey, I found Grandpa in the newspaper. And Lily goes, I hope not in the obituary again. No, he's got a magic show down at the Domino Club, located in the heart of Mockingbird Heights, also featuring the Domino's dancing dolls on Broadway in fun and frolic.
Mm-hmm. So why do they keep using Mockingbird?
I don't know. Is that like just the name of the area?
I guess so.
I mean, we're both from Ohio, and there's an area and from where we're from called Point Place that there's no reason to call it that except for the people living there.
Because they pointed to a place and
yeah. That's not the official name. There's no street by that, unlike with Mockingbird Lane. So I don't know why it's called that. It's just that's the area. I'm sure everyone has that type, can relate.
Yeah. Okay. I just find it interesting that they live on Mockingbird Lane and then everything else is like Mockingbird Heights, Mockingbird this, Mockingbird that.
Lily's worried that he's going to try his eating fire trick again. And Herman says, yeah, the last time he did that, he got the hiccups and burned down the theater.
So that's like what, 2 theaters then that Grandpa's burned down? Because then he burned down the wrestling one a few episodes back.
Yep, that convention center or whatever it was might have been a high school gym. Who knows? It was burned though.
All right, so they learn about Grandpa going into the nightclub, I guess, or whatever. Yeah.
Well, what is the point of the reverse vacuum shot we got? They put things in these episodes that have nothing to do with anything.
Well, it was just to show you that this is how that's what she does. She shoots the dirt everywhere instead of vacuuming it up.
They're nice little touches, but they confuse me because I'm like, is this going to come back at some point? No, it's just a shot of them living their normal life.
I think we've seen her using that before anyways. in the previous episode where she's just going like this on the curtains or some shit.
Maybe I don't remember, but
no. And also, by the way, guys, dirty and scare and like freaky are not the same thing. These people don't need to be dirty.
No, don't be dirty. Don't be gross.
Like they make it seem like because of they're the dead, I guess, basically, that they need to be dirty. No, they don't need to be dirty. No. And there's a difference between house dust and actual dirt. Like I could get like dirt because their bodies need to be around dirt or something for some like psychological zombie type thing.
Or vampire reason.
Vampire reasoning. But like normal household dirt, no, that's not the same thing as soil. So it does start to annoy me after a while. I'm like, well, what's the point, So anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Lily's still concerned about her dad, so Herman's like, just give him a call.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I could do that. Why didn't I think of that?
How did she give him a call though? They didn't have cell phones back then. Where did she call? But where did she call that she knew the number where he was at?
They have the yellow pages, I assume.
Oh, no. They called the bar. That's what it was.
Yeah, the nightclub.
That's okay. Yep.
They're like, hey, is the count? Because that's what he's going, but he's the count.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fuck me. So I was like, where the hell did she call to? And then I remember it instantly.
Like the yellow pages were around in the 60s, right?
Well, I just didn't remember that she called the bar right away. So yeah. Okay. So she calls the bar, gets a hold of him. Mm-hmm. Because apparently he just lives there now. And
that comes up later.
And
he pretends not to know her.
Yeah, he tells her, I'm here at this place and we're fine. I'm fine. Doesn't he invite them to the show, I think?
I don't know if he does or not. I just know he's like, who is this?
Yeah. Lily who? Your daughter, she says. I was like, damn.
Grandpa's an asshole.
Yeah, he is.
He mentions that he's filling the club night after night, and that turns out to be a lie because the club owner comes in and tells him, hey, you got to get your stuff together or you're fired.
Yeah.
He's like, look, I got this new trick I'm working on. Look at these flowers. I'm going to make them explode. Nothing happens.
Never do, until the guy walks away.
Yeah, he walks away and they act like he left the room, but he literally just walked off screen. There's no way he closed the door in that time before they explode.
Right. I'm curious what they're trying to say with Grandpa here, because in previous episodes his magic has been on par. He
did burn down a building on accident, trying to turn off a light.
Yeah, I guess.
And then the sleeping potion. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, like his normal magic of like moving shit around and all that stuff has been pretty good, I would think.
I'm not so sure.
Okay. Moving on then, Tivis. Since you don't want to concede.
Yeah. Herman driving Lily to the show. Him driving again. I'm so mad at whoever told me that.
That he couldn't drive?
Yeah, that he never drove the car. Anyway, so they walk in during a dance routine, and Lily is like, how can they watch this? Herman goes, yeah, look how dead the audience is. They sit down. The man next to Herman asks for a light, and Herman pulls out a comically large lighter. And in the flame, the guy sees Herman's face for the first time and is like, I don't know if I saw what I think I saw.
Well, the guy also seemed kind of drunk too.
Oh, he was drunk.
So there's that.
And then we get to Grandpa's act, which do you want to take this?
Yeah, so Grandpa, his act is basically he's going to chain himself into not himself, but he's going to get into shit. What are they called?
Steamer trunk is what they called it in this.
Okay.
But it's basically just a chest.
It's a trunk. Yeah, it's just a chest.
Which written on it, it has two names crossed out, Thurston and Houdini, which are two famous magicians.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one for their escapes act. The other one is known for the floating lady illusion. They like perfected it, Thurston.
Okay. So he's going to go inside this thing and he's going to have them chain it up from the outside. And I don't understand what he's supposed to do. Is he supposed to have gotten out of there? Is that what the magic trick was supposed to be? I was confused by what the actual
it was an escape artist trick is what he was trying to perform, like Houdini. I thought they
would tie you up and put you in there and you would escape out of that and then they'd open it up.
I thought it was the chains were for him as well at first, but no, they chain the trunk and then nail him in. And he's supposed to escape by the count of 10. And Lily is worried that he's going to suffocate.
Yeah, which I wrote that down in my notes. I was like, so they do all these jokes and gags about not breathing, but then they're worried about Grandpa suffocating. Like they don't breathe. He'll be fine 100%.
Yeah.
And also, why didn't he just turn into like a little tiny bug and crawl out of like a little crack in the thing and then morph
Does
back
he have
in?
that? We've only seen him turn into two things so far.
That's probably because they can't control little bugs. They can control dogs and stuff on set.
Yeah. So needless to say, he doesn't get out by the count of 10. The owner is like, bring on the dancers. And then we get a comment about Lily's marriage ring, which is tombstone, apparently.
Yeah, she's they're like, oh, is that I forget what the person
diamond or gemstone or
yeah, something like that. She's oh no, tombstone. And the person's just like, oh.
Okay, yeah, all right, whatever. So Lily's like, Herman, help him. He's like, all right, fine. So he goes up there, rips the chains off. Everyone's shocked that his strength.
Yeah.
And instead of just pulling up the trunk lid and busting the nails, he pulls the nails out one by one.
Yeah.
Which amazing finger strength.
Well, I mean, he has probably 10 different people's fingers, so
yeah.
Yeah, so then he opens it up and Grandpa's just there, just like looking like a sad old dude. Like,
it's like, why are you helping me?
Why are you? I can do this. I'm trying to do magic.
He's like, okay. So he puts the nail. Does he put the nails back in, or he just
puts the lid back down, and then he's like, he wants to do it himself, and he walks away. And then the other guy lifts it up, and there's a fucking wolf.
Yeah, the wolf is back.
And then he shuts it, and then Grandpa opens up again, and it's Grandpa. And then everyone loves it. They just love it because they think it's the best thing. I'm like, why didn't he use that magic in the first place? Maybe
he couldn't do it properly because of his internal struggles with his family.
Maybe. I don't know. It just seemed like he
was trying to do purpose.
He was trying to do these parlor tricks instead of actual magic that he had. So, yeah. And then we get
the owner apologizing profusely.
Yeah, the owner apologizes and offers him like a full-time gig traveling too. Yeah. Going to the East Coast or whatever they said.
I think the LA or whatever.
Was it the West Coast then? I thought I don't know which coast they're on, but it was the opposite coast.
I didn't write it down.
I thought they said up to East Coast because it would be like kind of New York area and stuff like that.
Oh, it might have been LA. I don't know if LA was as popular as it is now with shows and stuff.
Right.
Gambling, yes.
So, oh geez, Grandpa ends up not taking it because he sees that Lily is worried that they're gonna lose Grandpa forever, and he said that I got another act. I got my family, and they go from there. They go home, and then we see that this is a Christmas episode because they have presents. Otherwise, I'm like, why is Grandpa just getting gifts because his ass got grumpy and took off?
And they mentioned it's a holiday. They get a holiday cake. And I mean, this aired on Christmas Eve, so I'm assuming it's meant to be the Christmas one.
Yeah. I'm not sure. They don't necessarily do these as... I don't think they actually took a time out, at least for these ones, to do what's the word I'm thinking of? Holiday specials.
No. I mean, we got the Thanksgiving for Halloween.
Right. So it doesn't seem like they actually care too much about that, at least then.
No.
As they do now. But, like nowadays, they'll make a whole special for it.
I think it's the same in America as it was in Britain, but they didn't like to air new episodes of shows on Christmas itself because that was a time for family and no one watched TV. In fact, there was only one classic Doctor Who that aired on Christmas, and they even broke the fourth wall at the end where it's like, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah. They
just stopped the story dead to say that, and then they picked up the next episode.
Now go spend time with your families.
Yeah. Whereas now we actually get like Christmas movies and specials that air on the day of. It wasn't a thing back then. Not usually.
Right. Well, I mean, nowadays, like even movies like Shrek or Toy Story, they have holiday specials that they put out even.
Yeah.
And
Alien vs. Predator Requiem, that came out on Christmas, I believe.
That was a good Christmas movie.
yeah, I suppose,
Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Was that based on Christmas or no?
No, it picked up like literally where Alien vs. Predator ended, which was the middle of October, maybe August. I don't remember.
Because
that's not Munsters.
They took a place in Antarctica or whatever. Yeah. Munsters. So Grandpa leaves home. My thoughts on this episode, I was just questioning a lot of the motive for Grandpa, like what just crawled up his ass.
Yeah.
and then the motive of like how he just all of a sudden doesn't have his powers.
We forgot to mention that present giving scene was the first time we saw the new Marilyn.
Oh, okay.
And didn't say a word.
She doesn't even say Grandpa or anything?
No, she has no lines in this.
Huh. Okay. And
it makes me think they may have been casting while they were filming and just threw her in.
Right. So I'm guessing that the one episode from last week where we talked about when Marilyn fell asleep, the Sleeping Beauty one, Sleeping Cutie, sorry. That we'll never see Prince again then.
Yeah.
Especially since they trained.
I don't think we're ever going to see any of her boyfriends.
Just sad because I kind of would have liked to see where that story arc would have went. But anyways, Grandpa leaves home. Prince. I enjoyed this episode. It gave me some fun times. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this episode. There's I enjoyed this one. I have some more for.
I really enjoyed this one. The next one is a wild ride, but this one I had fun with. I like to since I get these on iTunes, I have the ability to put them in playlists.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do holiday stuff. And even though this was barely a holiday one, I would still put it in my Christmas playlist because it's just good family wholesome. Like
it kind of is a good one because it's like, well, you need to bring your family together.
Yes.
For the holiday. And I think they did a decent job without, pushing that as a main message. It's just Grandpa leaves home, but you can find an undertone of, oh no, it's about bringing your family together, not leaving your family, especially because it's a holiday one. They don't necessarily say it's a holiday one, but I mean, they put it out on Christmas Eve. Come on now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So the guests in this one, we got Robert Strauss as the nightclub manager who played Charlie Leach in Bewitched. Bill Dungan as the fellow. This was his first acting role, according to IMDb.
Okay.
Iris Adrian as the woman. Nikki Blair as the friend who played Shivers in Batman 1966 and was the voice of Hammerhead in the 1995 Spider-Man the Animated Series, which is personally my favorite Spider-Man. And Hammerhead was actually a favorite of mine, so that hits twice. Bill Coach as the Man, who was the stunt coordinator for Ghostbusters as well as Star Trek, the motion picture, and Star Trek 2, which I'm sad. Oh, Mike's back.
I was here the whole time. I was just eating.
Oh, okay. So I thought you might find that one interesting. And Sarah Jane Ross as the dancer, who this is her second ever credited role.
Yeah,
on IMDb.
Awesome.
Pat Priest again has 0 lines, and Herman reading Edgar Allan Poe's The Murders in Rue Morgue. That story is actually considered the first modern detective story by Kenneth Silverman, who was Edgar's biographer.
Oh, nice. And since you brought up Star Trek, I'm just gonna say go and watch Star Trek, everybody. All the original stuff is, just watch it. I don't care about if you watch the new stuff or not. I like the new stuff sometimes. Just go watch the original shit. It's the best.
He's a Trekkie. That's why I bring it up when I can. So on to our next
even
one.
Better than I'm not gonna go there.
You gonna say Star Wars?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's better than Star Wars easily.
Oh no, here we go.
Yeah, it is. Oh man, that's another cast. We'll talk about that on another show that we have. All right, so all right, let's dive in then to the
season 1, 15. Episode 15.
Yes, sir.
You want to say the title?
Go ahead, because I'm going to say it when I say the synopsis, anyways.
All right. Herman's Rival aired December 31st, 1964. This is the last episode, if you cannot guess, from being the last day of the year. And we're done with the 1964 after this. Is written by Dick Conway, Roland McLean, Norm Liebman, and directed by Joseph Peverney. Norm Liebman is in a lot of these, but I'm noticing his name isn't in the actual credits. I wonder if he's like, they didn't have this job back then, but he's like the showrunner kind of thing, like head editor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the showrunner is the one who's like, yes, we'll do this. Yes, we'll do this. No, we're not doing that. Go ahead and kill He-Man 5 times.
And that the showrunner actually is a term that came from British TV that carried over into here. More modern. We've had similar type roles, but it's more of a modern change to American television.
Awesome. And so that was so it came out on the New Year's Eve, basically.
Yep. If you celebrate New Year's.
Let's see here.
I think I broke Mike.
All right. So that would be 56 years, 9 months, and 27 days ago. And it was a leap year.
Oh.
So generations were baby boomers, and the Chinese zodiac was dragon, and the star sign was Capricorn. Sorry. I looked at this date in history. All right, let's dive into this episode here with a synopsis. Herman's Rival, December 31st, 1964, as Tivis already said. Lily thinks that Herman has lost his savings to a bad investment when in fact he lent it to her brother, the Wolfman. Oh, that spoils it. Why would they say that in the synopsis?
Yeah.
So
You
many
didn't
questions.
read ahead, did you?
So many questions in this episode too from that reveal.
Yeah, I have that exact wording. Eddie.
All right, let's dive into this episode, sir. Episode 15 and a go.
So we open
Cat's
with
back,
Mara.
by the way.
What's that?
The cat came back in this episode.
I know. As we open with Marilyn giving the cat milk, and we hear her first lines in the role, which I will take a second. Most cats are lactose intolerant. Like cow milk, not great for them. Just to warn people, that's a common misconception that carried over from World War II.
I actually just found that out yesterday because I was like, here, let's give this food to our cat. So we made my wife made tuna fish or something. They had mayo in it, and she's like, oh no, we can't do that because there's mayo byproduct milk and all that shit. And she's like, yeah. I was like, cats drink milk. What are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, but it's bad for them. It's like, damn. So look at that. One more day and I would have learned something from you, Tivis.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thanks to cartoons, it's people think it's all right because they do it all the time in those.
Yeah.
Awesome. Lily comes down, who's upset over Herman overdrawing at the bank, which been there, done that. It sucks.
She doesn't complain to him though at all.
No, she wants to keep it a secret.
That she knows, which is weird because usually a wife would just be bitching the shit out of you for it.
She talks about the only other person who's ever overdrawn was Grandpa at the blood bank, which concerning. So then they talk about Grandpa's wealth and how she's like, how you can't take it with you. Marilyn goes, yeah. Well, Grandpa did. He forgot to bring it back.
Yeah.
So all of his money is in the afterlife, apparently. Or maybe buried somewhere. It's hard to tell with this.
He left it in the old country. I'm sure the lines will come up later from Grandpa. It's in the old country.
Then we cut to Grandpa telling Herman that he lent money to Lester, who is revealed later to be Lily's brother. Mm-hmm. And Grandpa's like, oh, that piece of shit.
You lent, what was it, $5,000? There's always $5,000 involved with this fucking family.
It's probably the money they got from the magazine.
And he's like, you lent my son $5,000? My son. And the grandpa just starts falling back, like fainting. Almost.
Which is funny because he had the exact opposite reaction to Herman's brother.
Right. Yeah. So that reveals that. Anyways. So then we get Lily decides to go get a job. She's like, we need to take care of this. We need to do this. And she goes and gets a job. She goes to a temp agency, I think is what it was. Well, or just an agency. I'm not sure if it was a temp or not. It didn't really tell. I don't know what they had back then.
It seems like a temp agency equivalent of.
Right. So she goes there and they're just like, I don't know what.
Yeah.
But we do get her to say her maiden last name is Dracula.
Yes, we do.
So confirm that she's
related to a Dracula.
A Dracula, because then they give you that tease right there, but then they're like, oh yeah, there's tons of us back in the old country though. There's tons of Draculas there. I was like, what? So is Dracula just their code name for vampire? Or
I don't know.
Because Dracula is a person. Like it was one
I know. Person. I call them Dracula just to annoy some people. Instead of vampires, I'll just say Draculas.
Oh, like Morbius is the living Dracula.
Yeah. So I doubt that joke existed. What was this? 80 years ago? Damn near. But yeah. Before she goes, we missed Grandpa giving a list of things that Lester has done, also confirming that it's his son. One of the things I made note of was he threw his campaign hat in with Benedict Arnold.
Yeah.
That gave me a chuckle. But during the interview,
okay, I gotta say this because it's been bothering me because of Grandpa's psychoticness.
Yeah.
If Grandpa is Dracula, do we think that he's Vlad the Impaler? Tivis is just like wondering.
That's a good question.
Because
he would have to be, because that is the original Dracula, but
well, I mean, Dracula is a fiction character. Vlad the Impaler wasn't, but he was based
in the fiction. Vlad is Dracula.
Well, yeah. Well, Stoker based Dracula off of Vlad, yeah. But I'm like, if that's the case, that gives a whole nother dynamic to Grandpa.
Yeah.
Especially with the buried bodies everywhere. Anyways, let's move on.
We also get
people's minds.
We get a lot of information about Lily during this job interview. She says that she's 137. She was an airplane spotter during the war, but from her dungeon with a crystal ball.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be how her and Herman didn't get split up in the war that they mentioned a few episodes ago, but no, that's still just going to bother me because continuity, 60s don't care. So he's like, look, we don't have anything for you. But then this guy called Fred comes in through the door. He's like, hey, the palm readers want somebody else. Or the gypsy palm readers want some new, someone to come help them. I don't know why I'm struggling to get this out.
Because you said the word gypsy and you're not supposed to anymore.
Are you not really?
I that's what I've been told, but I don't know. Let's move along.
Hey, learning. But anyway, so he's like, we don't have anyone. Wait a second. Lily, do you know how to read palms? And she's like, why, yes.
Yeah.
Tell them we got someone.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, well, you wouldn't believe it, but we might have.
We get another shot of Herman going to the parlor because they're having a meeting over having to drum up new business instead of waiting for people to drop over.
Mm.
I would say this confirms funeral home to me.
Well, that also makes me wonder from that comment, is Herman going out and killing people now because they need to drum up business for him instead of waiting for people to keel over? But then later
I didn't take it that way, but that is a good question.
My dogs are going crazy. Later in the episode, though, he does say that he's like a salesman. It doesn't help when a salesman looks like you're people of the business, or your patrons or whatever. So, but I was like, well, he's gonna drum up business. He works at a funeral home. How's he gonna? Because he keeps saying, or he said anyways, we can't wait for them to just keel over, basically. So I was just curious, how is he drumming up business?
That's a good. And it also makes me wonder if this is a funeral home and he's there to be the one to sell the arrangements to people.
Yeah.
Do they think it's a bit insensitive that they perceive him as a guy in a Frankenstein costume working at a funeral home to sell them things for their past late relatives?
Confusing too, because then it's like, so this is a joke to you?
Yeah.
Or does Herman work there so that he gets first dibs on new parts?
I mean, it's a possibility.
Oh God, I hope that's a dark outcome, movie.
But oh no, you shouldn't have put that out there.
I hope that's in this movie.
All right. So after he leaves, Lily tells Meryl who jumps out of the closet to put a coat on her. Like, she tells her what to make for dinner so that when she comes back, it looks like she's been home all day. Yeah. Meryl is worried about Lily working for a man, which apparently is a thing 80 years ago that people were concerned with.
Well, I think it's because it was like a private thing, not necessarily like a boss, you know, like,
it's still a business though. I don't know.
I don't know. Jesus, dog.
She says that if Uncle Herman finds out, he's going to jump through the ceiling again. But Lily says he doesn't do that anymore after he ruined the rug last time when it rained.
Yeah.
That's when we get Herman coming home early with no one around to meet him except Grandpa.
Well, you also had Lily or Marilyn ask Lily if she should get a job too to do it. And Lily's like, no, you need to focus on your schooling.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't write this down, but I think it's important. Lily, the whole reason she got a job is because of the overdraft fee. She's like,
yeah,
it's a woman's duty to help out her husband when they need when they need them, even if they don't want it. I'm like, well, why aren't you guys just talking? Like, you guys have such a good marriage. This is just to talk. That's how relationships work.
Or, tell my wife that. Let's not fight and just go get me some more money.
That might cause a fight.
Especially when she hears that. I just said that.
At least yours listens. So Grandpa tells him that Lily isn't home. So he's like, well, where is she? And he goes, I've been following her. She's been being very mysterious, getting in her fanciest clothes, wearing her best perfumes. And Grandpa's insinuating that, she's sneaking around Herman's back. And he's like, let's go spy on her.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And not only do they go and spy on her, they I don't even know what to say with that one.
They follow her, but they also get ahead of her along her route.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's possible. They're like hiding in a mailbox, reading a newspaper. They find Grandpa's favorite manhole is right outside where she's doing the palm reading, apparently. It's a tea room, and Herman's like, this is strange. Lily doesn't like tea, which I could relate. I don't care for tea either. But my wife comes from a British family, so we have a lot of it.
Sweet tea. I'm Southern.
I can't do any tea.
I'm Southern like that. I need sweet tea, real sweet tea.
I need fake tea. Give me that green tea, Lipton stuff, the not real shit, or brisk. I'll drink a brisk.
You need tea time every day.
No, I don't.
All right. So yeah, they're watching. Look, this is the thing I don't get. You thinking that your wife is messing around on you, and you're just watching them at the table. Go in there and take care of the business, man.
Well, we haven't got to that one yet. We cut to inside the business, and Roman, the guy who hired her, he tells him about how proud he and his wife is. So he's a married guy, of her work, and how it's really helping them out. Meanwhile, Herman is having a conniption.
What is helping them out? Because she's reading his palm, that's helping his marriage out?
I think it's helping the business.
Okay.
But Herman's having a conniption in the manhole, which is just moving all over the place. Lily looks out and is like, I hope that's not going to explode. We find out that Roman's wife's name is Louisa, who asked Lily to read Roman's palm by the window to drum up interest by people outside. Meanwhile, Grandpa and Herman have moved to the alleyway and are looking through one of the windows instead of just through the front still, where Lily is now sitting. Grandpa's standing on Herman's shoulders, and then they switch. At one point, Herman's standing on Grandpa's, And after they've had enough of watching and they're like, yeah, I've seen enough. Grandpa goes to leave and just leaves Herman hanging there where he falls and goes through the ground. And no one in the business hears this. I can't hear you. You muted yourself.
My bad. I muted myself because of the dog. I said it was very interesting because no one hears them whatsoever at all in there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just the scene. Okay, so you said it already. The scene where Grandpa just walks away. And Herman falls down. It was just so funny. It made me laugh my ass off because of the look that Herman got on his face right before he fell in the window. He's like, yeah. All right. So where are we at now after that?
We cut back to Herman is writing a letter to Dear Abby, which is the second mention this show makes of that. And Grandpa's impatiently pacing around. Marilyn walks in and sees the Herman home and is like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "Well, Uncle Lester called and he wants to speak to you." Herman decides to change subjects because he's still not admitting that he invested money into Lester because everyone thinks he's a worthless person. Lily comes in and is shocked to see Herman as well. What's funny?
It's funny that it's just how did both of their brothers suck ass.
And they have complete opposite reactions. Herman hates his brother. Everyone hates Lester.
Yeah. Everyone
else likes Herman's brother, who in Freedom, I think it's Charlie, and Herman likes Lester.
Except, it's a weird dynamic that they have going there. Like no one, but I think after the whole Charlie thing, I think that they're more protective of what they're doing with him now. Of course, we haven't seen him back yet, so I don't know if we will, but yeah.
I'm skeptical, but maybe. I don't even know if Charlie will come back in any other, like the 70s version. I don't know if he's a thing at all.
Maybe we'll have him show up in the new movie.
I'd be okay with a reference. Like as much as Rob Zombie concerns me with his filming style and choices, there's no doubt that he understands a lot of the stuff that he's working with and will more than likely have a ton of Easter eggs. Like I'm sure we will probably see a family portrait with Lester at some point in the movie. There's no doubt in my mind there'll be references to some of these. Technical issues?
Yeah, I'm seeing some weird waveforms building up on my side, but I'll take care of that later. All right.
Okay. Herman talks to Lily. She's like, "Where did you go today?" She's like, "Oh, shopping." Oh yeah. Did you see anything interesting? Like, "Oh yes, I saw something I was very interested in." Like, "So you didn't do anything different?" "Nothing I haven't done for the last 2 weeks."
Yeah.
Everything she says is just making it worse with Herman. And so he's like, "You know what? Screw this guy. I'm going to go fight him."
Yeah. And she doesn't know what's going on yet.
No.
And he takes off and then Grandpa ends up spilling the beans.
Yeah. Him and Lily talk and they realize they drew because Herman lent the money to Lester. And so they're like, "Oh, Lester's on his way to pay us back." Meanwhile, Herman, who is angrily walking, gets to wait and stop by a stoplight.
Yeah.
Because he's too polite to jaywalk. So he's impatiently pushing that button that, for just in case anyone knows, those buttons, they don't actually work. Like it's come out a while ago now. Those buttons aren't connected to anything. They just put them there to make you be patient.
No one wants to be patient.
No, that's why they put a button. So he pushes the hell out of it, which makes the light begin spinning like crazy and sparks to going off. And he's, oh, dude, I'm going to get out of here. Finally, someone speaks to Lester as Lily answers the phone. This is where she finds out it's her and Grandpa talk. Yeah. And then Grandpa's like, oh, shit, Herman's going to kill Roman. So they have to rush after him.
Yeah,
Lily gives him
a diner or whatever.
Lily calls Roman. He's like, my husband's coming to fight you. Look out.
And he's like, oh, well, I've dealt with that before. And he's like, I've dealt with that before.
What's he look like?
What's he look like? And he's like, all right.
An average person.
Average build, this color eyes, husband, family.
Oh, that's right. Man. Yeah. Oh no, wait, that was another episode where we found out Herman has 2 different colored eyes.
Yeah. So then they hang up and Herman busts, or no, he starts knocking on their door.
He's outside. Roman looks at him
and he's like,
puts the close sign up. He's like, I don't know what that is, but not dealing with it.
Yeah, and then Herman ends up breaking in, and the guy faints. By the time Lily and Grandpa get there, the guy's fainted.
Herman's there, like, hey, you're right. I thought he had a heart attack at first, the way he was clutching his chest.
Yeah.
And Herman's like, hey, you okay? Hey, look, he starts explaining to him why he's upset, and he's like, and you're not even listening to me.
Yeah.
And this is when Grandpa and Lily come in and they're like, stop.
Yeah, they stop him. And I guess the situation kind of gets resolved. They didn't really say anything. It's just like, oh, it's
Roman
done.
has no idea what happened.
Yeah.
He wakes up and sees the whole family, passes out again.
Well, no, before he even wakes up, before then, fucking Lily's brother just shows up out of nowhere.
Oh, no, that's the 3rd time he wakes up, which I have I was writing it down as Lester showed. Here's my exact notes. Lester arrives and is the most terrifying werewolf I have ever seen in anything ever. Holy shit, what the fuck?
Nice.
That's true. That is horrifying to look at.
Well, I think he's kind of designed like the first Werewolf Man.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he's designed like the first Werewolf Man. That's what it is. So if you Google that image, you'll see pretty much what he is. I think he has a lot more hair on his face, though. Oh,
yeah. Around the time that Lily and Grandpa were talking, I had the thought in my head, where the hell has Eddie been?
Yeah. Oh, no. Lester looks like... Lester is his doll, basically. Is Eddie's doll almost.
Oh, really?
It kind of looks like it just has more hair around his eyes and cheekbone. So Lester has hair basically everywhere on him. And then he has like these Deadpool dark colored spots around his eyes and stuff. So yeah, oh damn it, I just got spoiled for a cameo that might be coming up. All right. But yeah, the design is more like the original Wolfman, or even I would say like Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox. Kind of look like that.
Not as horrifying.
Tivis is like, I was fucking scared. Leave me alone. Don't talk about it anymore.
There's something else about that.
Yeah. So where the hell did her brother come from? How the hell did Lester know where they were?
He's a wolf. He's got the nose. He can smell.
Come on, man. He came out of the back room.
Maybe that's where his investment's going. He's investing in the Palmer.
Oh, man.
Herman's palm, which we finally see Eddie in the background. He must have just had an off day for this, because they sometimes did that. back then, where actors would be given a vacation where they just weren't there for some of the filming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also kids are only supposed to be on set for so many hours a day.
Was that in place back then? I don't know.
In the 60s, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, actually. I'll look that up while we're talking.
Well, we have another nice moment between Lily and Herman as we fade out of the episode. And, again, it's real nice when they end on that note.
Yeah.
So overall, I had fun with this one. The whole lead up to Lester's reveal, which, again, the question, is it because he's a werewolf? They didn't want people to think too hard about Eddie, or...
Right. Dude, is Herman actually Eddie's dad?
Yeah, I didn't want to go there, but it raises questions.
There's some incest stuff going on, man. Or maybe they had just adopted him because Lester's a horrible father. That could be it. Nothing from that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Lester's a bad dad, so his sister adopted his son. Or it's like the Lannisters or whatever the fuck they were from Game of Thrones, and brother sister boinked and made the kid, because he does kind of have the so Eddie's like a werewolf, but he also has like the vampire look when he's not in werewolf form. So there's nothing that screams I'm part of Frankenstein's monsters kid at all.
No, but it also doesn't scream Dracula kid. Other than the point.
Yeah.
But he's supposed to be a werewolf.
Right.
All
right, so we're going with, it was Lester's kid. Lester's a horrible, horrible person. They adopted the baby at a young age. And then Eddie became Herman's son. Probably.
Yeah, that's the best outcome.
Either that or
no, we're not going there.
There's some Game of Thrones shit going on there. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, we're going to continue with the joke, which means it's not getting cut.
All right, so we're
ignoring that
episode.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I enjoyed this episode a lot. I was just really surprised when Lester just shows up out of nowhere. I'm like, okay. And I didn't know he was a werewolf. I didn't know her brother was. I was wondering because they kept having him talk throughout the show, but you never saw him.
No. But
you got the lead up to him, which was probably a nice reveal back in the 60s. Like, oh, werewolf dude. Oh, sweet. I hope they give build up like that to some of the other guests. Like I said, while I was just looking here at pictures of Lester, I got spoiled for another creature that shows up, and I'm very pissed because it's one of my favorite ones. I wish I wouldn't have gotten spoiled about it.
I'm excited to see it.
So
hopefully it doesn't look creepy as hell.
Oh. No, it doesn't. Not as bad as the werewolf guy. Not as bad as Lester does. So I'm curious to see how much we see more of Lester in the future. I know we see more of him. I feel like we see more of him. I think that I had seen him when I was a kid before too, but I didn't realize it was her brother. I never thought that of that like that. So yeah. I enjoyed the episode. I enjoyed the build up. For sure, because it's the first time we really get a build up for a reveal within this show.
Yeah,
I think so. That was a nice one, nice little switcheroo, and we didn't get a whole lot of "we're dead" jokes in this episode.
No, not this one.
Nice. The last few we did, but not this one. So that's nice. But yeah, your final thoughts on this episode, dude?
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right.
The guest list for this one is Chet Stratton as Mr. Haggerty, who will come back in a future episode as someone else. Erwin Charone, I think is how you pronounce that, as Lester, who again will be back as a different character, unfortunately.
I was gonna say, I wondered if they did his makeup so heavy so that they could reuse the actor as another character, and or just switch out the actor to play Lester.
Yeah, I have no idea if Lester himself comes back, but as for the actor portraying him,
comes back.
He does not reprise the role.
Okay.
Tommy Farrell as the assistant, who I think was probably Fred. They just didn't name him. Karen Flynn as Louisa, whose only other acting credit is as Jenny Riggs in an episode of the 1963 series Burke's Law. So she had two acting roles, but she did go on to work behind the scenes. She was a production assistant on Osmosis Jones.
Oh, cool.
Lee. Oh God, Berger as Roman, who I'm shocked you didn't know this, was Abraham Lincoln in Star Trek.
Who was he in this one?
He was Roman, the store owner there. Yeah. He also played Marius in Wonder Woman.
Okay.
And if you go back and watch this episode around the 23.5-minute mark, you could see they pulled back on the camera a bit too much. Mm-hmm. You could see the ceiling of the studio where the set ends.
Oh, nice. Why wouldn't they just read? Oh, okay. Budget film. Yeah. It was film. That's why.
So we got a new act. Pat Priest came in, and this are 2 episodes here. So I got a little spotlight for her. It's a short one because she didn't. She was in quite a few things, but of note, she was born August 15th, 1963. Her first acting credit is as Diane in an episode To Take Up Serpents of the 1963 show The Lieutenant. Her last acting role was as a restaurant guest in the 1995 movie Here Comes the Munsters, and she had 3 different characters on the show Bewitched.
Dang. All right. Good for her. Before we do last words of the entire thing, I wanted to ask, because episode 15 is our first time where New Marilyn gets to talk.
Yes.
What did you think? Could you tell a big difference between the 2 actresses?
Without being as respectful as I can, no.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't.
I'm sorry, Beverly, but no, I did not immediately notice a difference.
Yeah. So I haven't seen a big difference within that one episode anyways.
No.
So we'll see about next week or moving forward and stuff like that. So yeah, be interesting. I want to see this actress dealing with the whole you're ugly because you're beautiful thing, or all that stuff. Of course, I also want them to kind of get away from that because it's just recycled over and over. But I guess that's what a lot of this is. So also, real quick, people, just in case you missed the first part of the podcast,
I don't know how.
Right? You can find us. You can skip. They skip, Tivis. They skip. Come on. No one wants to listen to it.
Just skip this part then. But
I know. Skip this part. Skip the rate part first.
Oh no, he said it again.
So you can find us on all social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at TheMunsterCast. You can also hit us up on email at TheMunsterCast@outlook.com. You can also, where else can they reach us? Anywhere else? YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah, we put the videos up on YouTube.
Yes, our videos go on YouTube. It's the Munster faces. Yeah. Our horrible Munster face. We should do this show in black and white. Why aren't we doing it in black and white? It'll probably
You're the one editing.
All right. Tivis, with that said, you got any last words, man?
That's just a horrifying werewolf. But happy Thanksgiving to all. Have pumpkin pie on me.
They're gonna eat the pumpkin pie on you? Okay.
Preferably not, but
All right. With that said, guys, we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. Or you can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.